Greetings to you all and welcome back to Let's Play the Langrisser. Now then, we're continuing this fight. This chap may as well... I was going to say may as well take the ballista, but it will put him out of influence range and then he will die immediately to spearman. He'll probably die immediately to spearman anyway, but whatever, just take that free chap. And then Freya can heal that squad back up with a force heal too. It will heal all of the horses and should do pretty well for us. Nice swirly vortex of healing. Let's see what Airwind can find. Not much, it would seem. He's going to not have the move speed to get stuck in the fight this turn. That's a shame. His job is really more to take down the spearman over on the right hand side. So he will be doing that next turn by the looks of things. Anything else needs doing? Nope. There's a fight on the right that needs finishing off next turn. Vargas is slowly making his way to the fight. Just climbing over the fort for some reason. Doesn't want to go around. And his men, instead of keeping up, want to go and have a little rummage through the woods. Easily distracted of Vargas's men. Fortunately, the sorcerers keep charging towards us rather than using their spells. That's a great benefit to us. Unfortunately, the ballistas are now in range. And we don't have Hain's spells to knock them down. Shame we lost Hain. Doesn't happen very often, but Hain and Liana, of course, the very weak members of the team, easily picked off by horses and flyers and the like. Then we have people such as Cherie and Keith, who have really high attack but a really low defense, who are often picked off by ranged units. Not sure why the sorceress, whatever, didn't use her spells then. She was clearly within range. She could have hit some people for some nasty damage. Maybe she's only got very weak spells, so maybe she thought better to get her influence diamond a little nearer. She's put herself in an incredibly dangerous position, but that works for us. They configure themselves in such a bizarre fashion that they can't actually reach our horses with their pikemen. Now, phalanx are weak to soldiers. That also includes grenadiers, of course. So this swordsman chap is going to be a pain for Aaron. I can't really flip him back over, and there's not many horses left on the other side. But they're too scared to attack anyway, so that works. Lucky bandits. Become quite a cluster of enemy units, and it's that time you're wishing you had spells, but we don't, so we just have to try and kill everything. We could have summoned up the Valkyrie thinking about it, and that could have perhaps been useful for spell purposes, but it's not really necessary. I'd rather have Freya's healing and damage boosting capabilities. Because an attack 2 spell onto Aaron would actually make his units able to kill just about anything. I do fear for Keith a little bit here. Not Keith, sorry, Lester. Because I thought they had a full squad of Griffins still, but apparently they don't. They have a Griffin on 1 HP, which I read as 10, so there is nothing to fear at all. Lester's archers should be able to take that down pretty simply. Don't know how Lester's going to get to the fight on the left-hand side. I don't know if his serpent's particularly good at manoeuvring over mountains. And I should have killed the Griffin first, my bad. We all make mistakes, there's one from me. Long live the Empire. Okay. So Keith, you can now go and join the fight. Hopefully we can pick off some ballistas. You may as well treat your wounds. Or rally, as we like to call it in this game. Angels can fly an incredibly large distance. These ballistas are out of influence range as well, so that should be an easy job. Apparently not. Curse you, Keith. They are on high walls, so the ballista is getting a 40% terrain bonus. That's obviously playing a part in this. This counts as a tactical flanking manoeuvre. We'll pretend we meant to do this all along, and it's a brilliant tactic by us. In fact, it just kind of flukily happened, because we finished the fight on the right at this time, but there we go. What tactics we have. What happened to my unit I had selected? That's not the tile I wanted. There we go. Of course, when I said, aha, that thing's not in the influence range, that's a big deal. It's not, because they gain 1 defense for being in the influence range, so it doesn't really matter at all. As kindly demonstrated there. Not sure where that pool of water in the background is supposed to be coming from, but whatever. Anyway, now, this looks pretty good for us now that we have Keith on board with his angels. We're getting to see just how strong the angels are, of course. They're very, very handy. Mobility, unlike any other units we have. Much better mobility than the fairies that we used to have. Very powerful units. We'll be using them for the rest of the game, I do believe, because they are incredibly good. Now this fight's the more interesting one. Aaron, you may as well just retreat and take down these horses. Not you. You, there we go. May send Freya herself into combat. We shall see. We shall see. This should be a kill in 1 attack. Feel free to place your bets. Okay, completely wrong. I suppose that was going to happen because I seem to remember Highlander attacked before a group of pikemen and took 2 damage and dealt 0. But he does have quite high defense, doesn't he? Yes, 29. Very high. We of course have the type advantage, but that's about it. So Aaron's job is going to be to slowly wear that chap down. I don't have 4 phalanx left. Oh no, I've got 5. Right then. Freya, what spells do you have again? No real need for attack 2. We have a very high attack score. We shall just try to punch our way through this swordsman and all of his soldiers. I'm surprised about that, Erwin. You're letting me down. Quick reminder that bandits are of the footman class, so they're weak against horses, but they are not the advanced soldiers, they are in fact the advanced berserkers, or barbarians. Yeah, barbarians, that's what they were called. Yes, I can barely even remember. They're most useful against pikemen for this reason, however these pikemen have a 40% terrain advantage on us, which doesn't make a heap of difference. Seems that we will be charging in through this side over here. Maybe quite a long grind down this fight, and not much we can do about that. The angels will be mopping stuff up from behind relatively quickly. We may as well use these horses in combat. They're going to die very shortly to those spearmen on the right hand side which are coming to get them. so we may as well do what we can with them before that happens. I will actually attack the ballista because I do detest ballistas. That's a job well done. Now remember, we have Liana. Liana is capable of healing at the same time as Freya. It's not a case of we can only use one of the two. So I will be using Liana to heal, which means that Freya this turn will probably be able to just charge into the fight and try to pick off a kill. Freya does have moderate stats after all. And that's Cherie, who has incredible stats. How big is the AoE on heal 2? It's enormous, that will do just fine. Well, okay, it's not enormous, but it's very big considering how strong this spell is. That's everyone back up to full HP because that spell is ridiculous. And you can't quite reach. So we shall park you over there, ready for the next turn. And we'll see what the enemy can muster. Falca's very slowly climbing over these walls, going to get here soon. We'll be out of horses by the time he gets here, that's annoying. So we'll have to kill those grenadiers with our commandos, I'm guessing. Or ranged units on the way, that's also annoying. All the commanders seem to be intertwined with one another, so it's hard to tell who belongs to what. Barbarians, again, they have very low defense, so they are weak to archers, but they're not as weak as some of the other units we've seen. That's kindly demonstrated there, a couple of points of damage. They do have +5 defense from Airwind, that's nice. But they do have a relatively low defense, very low for a second tier unit, but not that bad against these first tier archers. Yes, there are second tier archers, they're coming up. Just about every unit in this game does have a more advanced form. Not sure what the Sorceress's plan of action is here, they just seem to keep stepping into ever more danger. Apparently they're trying to take down Airwind, because they've stepped right next to Airwind, but still, they're not going to attack him. Not going to cast any spells. Kind of useless in this fight, I do believe. Anyway, it is the dawn of a new turn, and a new turn means a new video. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I shall see you then.